Hello, this is Krill again, playing T96 off PB15. Um, I've been logged in for a few minutes just to have a quick look around because I was intending to spend some time today looking at the dot map for the south. However, there's been a few developments this turn that I've seen that mean that it's actually going to be a much harder decision than I first thought. And I thought it was going to be hard simply because of the terrain. There's So I'll just give a quick overview of it, of what's happened. As you can see, I've got two archers where I wanted to consider putting two cities for a straightforward front line that had no overlap with Thoth's cities at all. However, Thoth has moved his immortal onto the Grass Hill Forest, moved up two workers, and he's also, as you can see, labelling his workers now. Whether it's true or not, you never know. You can never tell. But with the amount of cities he's got, I believe that working 9 is probably about right. He's also got, so he's probably got 9 workers total, but he's got 2 on this hill and 1 here. Now, I don't have vision on the tiles below, so it's most certainly possible that there's a road on these grassland. The next turn he will try and plant a city on that hill. That would obviously fuck up my dot map, my potential dot map for this area, because this city is now illegal to settle. He's planting for the sheep. I said a few turns ago that he could plant a city. He could plant a city here, split off the corn, and it would be a viable city site. It wouldn't need the sheep, because Fart has there's a floodplain to share between Finn and Fart. They both have Grass Hill sheep, so both of these cities are absolutely fine for food, so he can afford to split off that corn. So this is what I think he's likely going to do. He's likely going to plant a city there on turn 97. Now, my first reaction to this is fuck currency. I will go back, I will research horseback riding, I will build, slave out 6 to 8 horse archers, round up all my chariots, and I will go raise that city. First thoughts, that is a reasonable option, because I can do that. There's not a problem at all doing that. The reason I didn't want to do horseback riding was because I couldn't, because of the amount of horse archers I could build, I wouldn't get much out of them. I couldn't go and kill somebody with them. And taking a single city off either Novice or Thoth wasn't, from last turn, like on the cards. However, if Thoth is going to plant a city here, then actually, yeah, that would make sense sometimes. However, I have to consider what is the problem with him having this city here, how I want to dot map this area, and why I want to dot map and even settle this area. Because I've said before, it's shit land. It's just not particularly nice. There's not much food there. I mean, and I even said that the exclamation mark city I don't really want to settle because there's just no food, and it's not for losing that city that I'm not bothered about losing that city per se. I'm more bothered about giving Thoth a way to threaten a whole swathe of land from one single city. So he would only have to defend one city, and if I were to settle any cities around here, I'd have to defend a whole wide front. So whereas Thoth could just put a horse archer stack somewhere towards Persepolis to guard against anything from combat, which is very unlikely. Defend Fat. He can defend a whole area just with one single stack, playing like zone defense. I would need a stack. If I were to settle for this Grass Hill sheep, I would need to keep units on the Desert Hill area, and it would be very difficult necessarily to get them to around the quick way around this lake. They'd otherwise have to take a long way, depending on where Thoth's culture was. Now, obviously, having the question mark and the exclamation mark cities doesn't make much difference, because it just means that I can hold this land, and I still have very wide borders. Basically, I need to have multiple stacks of horse archers and cats all around, because there's no single place in my empire that could defend every single front at the same time. That happens once an empire goes past a certain size of about 16 tiles wide, I think, is it? Yeah, about 16 tiles wide before engineering. Um, you just have to start splitting stacks. I mean, 8 tiles is the minimum. I think for one turn window to right. So if you put basically when I mean 8 tiles, I mean you can. If I put a stack of horse archers on the desert, or where the hashtag is, in one turn it can move 4 tiles over. So it could move to here if I had the roads down, or it could move here. So if I had cities on the 2 ping marks, then I could put a stack of horse archers between them, defend either city in a single turn. Another 4 tiles in either direction. I need 2 turns. So basically, the bigger an empire is, the longer you want your opponents to have to take to reach your city. So you've got enough time to reposition units to defend. And so if I want to settle these 2 cities down here, now I'll have a very large empire. I want the I wanted the full fat crosses to not overlap, so Thoth couldn't just run straight in and attack. However, that's that's the plan. That was the plan. But if Thoth settles here, then I would need to push back the exclamation mark city now. The problem with that is there's just no food around here, so there's quite a few different dot maps I need to consider. One of them, and this is the one that's a bit risky, and it means that I've got to stop. I do actually have to settle this area right now to stop Thoth from doing anything. Is to settle one city here and one city here. Now, the advantages of this is that instead of settling 4 cities, I mean, let me just get rid of some of these. I was looking at alternate dot maps, but they're no longer possible. So if I settle a city here and here, I've only got 2 cities instead of 4. Yes, I'm not using some of the grasslands. Some nice tiles like Plains Hill, 2 grasslands. I'm not paying for 4 cities. I don't have to build 4 settlers. I've only got to build 2. So there's lower cost of doing this. The problem I have with the dot map, and it's not a major one, is that I'll just put them down like this. Settling the one site. Yes, this site has an irrigated wheat. It doesn't have much else. It's got 3 grassland that I can irrigate. I can steal the plain sheep as well. It's not that important that I leave it with got the reset. It is there, but it doesn't. But most of the hills are plains hills. There's some desert hills. There's not much. This one site's not actually that bad, to be fair. I can irrigate 1 tile around here potentially. I've got another dyes tile that I can try and stop novice from taking. I've got options. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grass hills, so it's perfectly fine. It can settle there, work the sheep, work grass farms, and work hills. It's actually an okay city. It's not on a hill, but whatever. Can't have everything. The river's in a nice position, so it's not that easy to attack this city except by going over the river. So I mean, it's a viable front. I do get a seed land to Thoth. I don't piss him off. He is giving me open borders and all that shit. It's useful. So this is something that it's viable. The only problem is that if Thoth wants to get aggressive, and he can do, if he settles this city here, I'm going to have difficulty holding this tile, which is the most important tile for me to have. I can do it. I can hold that tile culturally, but if I lose that, then I've got a lot of difficulty getting units between these 2 cities because of the lake, because of the peaks. I'd have to position units on this plains hill, and even then it's not pretty. It's doable, but it's not pretty, and it means that I can't use those units to defend Here Tomorrow Big and the Scarab Ward, whereas if I do hold that tile, I can position them somewhere like here. And yes, it's near the front, and it might seem aggressive, but they're a lot closer. They're a turn closer to the Scarab Ward to defend against anything Thoth does over there. So there are concerns, there are problems, there are difficulties, but they're probably manageable. I mean, the other option of instead settling here means that I actually lose um, two grass hills and I only gain one, and there's additional overlap. But I mean, that's one possibility. It's also on a hill, obviously, but it's not. To me, it's a slightly worse city for the output, but it's slightly more. It is slightly more defensive. Um, so I actually need to consider what to do. Like as I said, I can tech horseback riding, build horse archers, and attack Thoth. I lose open borders. I have to do it sooner rather than later, before he gets too many units in there, before he gets culture. But even then, it takes me even the time frame. It takes me 2 turns to research horseback riding. I've then got to build the horse archers. I've then got to do X, Y, and Z. Got to get them into position. Got to make sure I've got enough. Got to move all the chariots over there. I've got to make sure I can still defend other fronts. Not easy. I've got to make sure I can defend the Scarrow Ward. That's not going to be easy. Okay, so I don't want to get into a pissing contest with Thoth, because that's the way that we both lose. And that's the point. It's like, if I do attack him to get rid of that city, what do I gain out of it? I gain a slightly better front, but only for defensive purposes. And I'm going to have to defend if I'm attacking Thoth. So it's like, it's almost circular reasoning. So I don't think it's necessarily the best thing to attack Thoth to get rid of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd consider doing it if it was someone else, but because it's Thoth, I don't really want to do it. If it was someone else in that position, they may not have developed as well. They would be weaker. They would be less of a threat, and I would therefore consider it more manageable. But the way Thoth's developed his empire, he's not a pushover, and I cannot ignore the long-term threat he poses. And so pissing him off is not a good course of action. So what I'm really considering right now is, so yeah, I am probably going to have to change that dot map. I'm not entirely concerned about that. I'm actually quite happy to go and settle that right now, because it's 2 cities, get the culture down, get the food improved. I mean, because you got to remember that if you look at those 2 dot maps, there's no forests. There's only one forest for the northern one, this one here, and there's only one forest on the inner ring here, so it's very difficult to pop borders. I would have to chop this forest. Oh, there's 2 forests, aren't there? Actually, I'm an idiot. There's 2 forests. I can chop this one immediately for a barracks. Borders pop. I can chop this one into a granary, which I'll have already been building towards. I'd use the sheep immediately. I'd have to use the sheep. Let's grow to size 2, mine this hill, and work that at size 2. This one, again, I'd chop it into a barracks. I'd mine a hill and I'd work that at size 1. No, I wouldn't. I'd irrigate. I'd irrigate and work that. It's not amazing, but I'd do that. The main point is to get the culture down and to hold the borders. I could do that. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to remove some of these, or relabel them. To the different dot map choices. Yeah. Also, should point out, nice little Bob warrior here that I didn't. I was thinking that, why didn't I see that last turn? I've only just realised that the borders have only just popped from Andal Carry. Last turn, that warrior was there, and I did not have vision on that tile, so that's why it's in my borders without being seen. It's not a problem. Not at all. If it moves onto the corn, the axe kills it. If it moves onto the grassland, I've got plenty of chariots to kill it. It doesn't matter. I'd rather the axe kill it, because I want the 1 experience point to get it to 5 XP. The chariots are starting to run out of their useful life. Like, they're about to become obsolete. Or if people have got horse archers, they are obsolete, pretty much. They're just going to be, well, not obsolete, but they're niche. They can still be used effectively, but they're not that great. I'll look at everything else now. Nothing's changed in the event log. I'll just have a quick look around because I've still not moved anything, so I can do it now. As I said, borders have popped in and I'll carry. I can see Pindicator with his worker. I can see Bowman and Chariot. I can see into the city. He's got a granary. Don't think he's got anything else. No, I don't think he's got anything else. Narvis is chopping a lot of forest. He's got very high MFG manufacturing, high hammer output. I think he's building the mids. If has he got a forge? Not say he should have a forge. Yeah, he's got a forge. You can see the forge here. Palace Forge, Oracle, Monument from Henge, Granary. He's chopping. If he's got maths, I don't know if he has. If he's got maths, 120 base hammers. The Industrious is 180. If he plus the forge is an additional 30, 210 hammers. So actually, yeah, he might be built. He could be He could be building. He could be building mids in Mercator, couldn't he? Oh well. Not an unreasonable target then for a war if he does build mids. But he looks at Thoth over here. Thoth over here, he's got so many sodding units. As you can see, he's again got 2 spears, an archer. His immortals wandered off somewhere. The really fun thing is that I technically can't really improve that horse. I mean, you see how Thoth's playing here, and it's like, I could be very ballsy and just move out a single worker. Don't know if he's going to do that. Don't know if he's going to do that. If I move out that worker and do that, he could have declared war. He could wreck OB. Would he do it? Would he do that? Don't get me wrong. He's farming. Yeah, I mean, I don't even like the idea of leaving units out on this because, I mean, yeah, I can promote my axe to combat 2. He can I'm fairly sure he can promote his axe on this tile to shock, and he would have odds. So I don't even like this. Don't even want to move. It's like I wouldn't even bother moving units to defend because I haven't got units in position to defend with odds. And even then, it's 50% odds. It would probably cost more just to actually defend it and then lose, and then get unlucky and lose a significant amount of hammers and potentially lose the city. I would be better just to use. I think I would be better just to use the single worker to improve tiles around there. But anyway, let's look around. What have I got going on? I changed the tile earlier. Nothing special onto the cottage. Let's go through the cities quickly. Settler, Spearman, mids. Yeah, Spearman can change this turn. Yeah, carry on growing, doing the workboats. To consider that. Oh yeah, before I forget. Whaleboats. Yeah! Half the time to the mausoleum. Isn't that great? And then, end up carrying. I said I'm going to swap off a spear because I don't want to. Don't want to finish it. Don't want to pay for it. So I can swap into something else, and it could be an axe, could be an archer. Chariots, I said, aren't really worth it much anymore. Can't build settler works because I want to grow this city. Library's an option, but I'm actually going to go with the axeman. Don't have many, and whilst we are coming into the age of horse archers, And catapults. Axes are still useful just to sit in cities and just to make it so that just to bulk out the defenders and make it slightly more difficult to attack. I mean, axes in cities with fortification bonus are not the worst defenders. They can still get odds on horse archers, especially if they're in hills. So it's on hills, so they're not that bad a build. It's only chariots that really destroy them, and it's one of the reasons why chariots stay niche though, because you can still defend. You can still use axes to defend with, and so chariots still have a part to play sometimes. I didn't cancel some of the worker movements, and they've gone through. The road's gone through. No. Do I road the sheep? Is there any point in roading the sheep? I've already got sheep hooked up. I'm not going to trade it. Might as well road the Plains Hill. It's also better because it goes down towards the sea. So, well, fuck it, either goes. Doesn't matter. No, I'll do the Plains Hill. Most likely next turn. Do I need as much military if I'm building these two cities? It's a good question. I can move the spear out. The spear will be enough. I mean, barbs can't spawn on any of the tiles here other than the wheat, this forest tile here. So I do still need to move this spear over, so that's not such a bad build to finish that. So yeah, I can finish that and then go on to whatever I want afterwards. So I'm going to do the smart thing. Promote that and leave the spear on the worker. Now I find out that Commodore's put 2 axes on this plains tile that's already roaded and 2 workers. Next turn he roads it. Or no, on this grassland here that's already roaded. And he roads up and kills it. Just could do. Don't think it's likely. God, choices. I'm going to go with it. Worker 6, I never liked you. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to move a worker onto that border. And I'm going to pasture. Actually, what's Doth got here? Have I got? I haven't, have I? I would offer a slightly one-sided resource trade, but there's none that I can really do. I could offer him whale for something, but that's like if I offered him whale for gems, that benefits me, not Thoth. So that's me like trying to take advantage of him. I'd be willing to offer him, for example, silver for gems because that benefits neither of us. However, Thoth does have another gems he can hook up once he gets iron working, so he could see that. He could interpret that as like I'm offering him like future benefits basically. I'm not sure how he'd interpret it though. I don't really want to run the risk of. I mean, the downside to a war declaration is obviously I lose a worker, lose trade routes, and all that shit. I don't know. I want to do it, but I'm just thinking, is it really that safe. To be fair, could move the axe over as well. Move the worker down. Right, so I move the worker over. I move the axe onto the tile here. Oh, fuck it, no, I just need more fucking units. Arguably, I should have moved the spear 5 onto this tile here. Move the spear back, move this spear back into the city, axe onto there. One worker roads, one worker pastures. I do leave though a worker open to Commodore, and Commodore's got a better reason to declare war on me than Thoth does. And I said, there's no way that I can actually improve that tile. Fuck it, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to leave it uncovered. Oh, brilliant, I get a pasture as well. So worker turns do actually count. I didn't know that. I was wondering if I even offer him a... It doesn't actually cost me anything, does it? Other than it means that I'm making Thoth stronger. Is it really worth that much? Is it really worth that much? Because effectively, by me giving him Wales, I'm trying to buy him off. Does he have a source of Wales anywhere that he can get? No, I don't think he does have a sort of Wales he can easily get a hold of. I'll think about it this turn. I don't know. I want to... I think... Oh, I don't know. I don't want to chop it, not right now. I'd like the chop to go into a potential market or something else here. I need to chop it for that farm though, but I also need to find a way. The worker moves onto the hill and mines... Oh, fuck it. If Thoth doesn't attack this turn, I can move it there and irrigate next turn. Irrigate cancel and then move it off, it doesn't matter. I'm going to just road, because I want that connection in place. The spear stays here. He stays there. Warrior doesn't matter, really. I was going to scout out around this area, but I'm also interested now that I've seen this Bob, so he's grown to size 2, and if anyone tries to improve that, so I want to scout out around there. These workers are all free, pretty much. Unfortunately, it's got to be said, that warrior's kind of screwed up some of the micromanagement, but it doesn't matter that much. It's not that important. This chop was going to come in this turn. It's got to come in technically this turn or next turn to get the chop done. I can do it. I can delay it till next turn. Actually, maybe I will build that. Actually, I will build that library. There's nothing else I can drop that chop into, and at least the library gives me culture. 5, make 6, make 4, and I can work 2 scientists later. Not that I want to. Wealth is better, but it's not as good as building wealth, but it would do. So I'm going to chop that in now. Oh no, don't chop it in now. Yeah, it makes more sense to chop it next turn. Actually, just for one extra turn of defense whilst the spear's there. I actually, even though the mine says it takes 7 turns, once I finish the chop, it will actually go down to saying 4 turns, so I can use 3 workers to mine now. The 4th worker can do whatever. Next turn, 1 worker chops, 1 worker mines, and that finishes the the mine. So I actually am going to move these 2 over here. cancel them though, because otherwise you can end up wasting worker turns because of workers automatically finishing their movement. I wanted to finish the road onto the corn. I can. I also wanted to kill that with a spear. I did kind of want to kill it with a spear so that I could get formation spear. But the only spear I've got is this one here. Fucking hate rhymes. And I'm using that at the moment. I can't move any other spears down to defend this area. Some smart aleck will say that I could actually finish the spear this turn and use that new spear to kill the warrior. That'd be legit. Decisions. Actually, I might as well move the axe onto the corn and do it, because it's only going to get one experience point either way. If that axe dies, I'm going to be so pissed off. I actually am going to finish that spear. I don't know if the warrior will attack, so I will finish that spear. I don't think the spear. I don't think that's necessarily the best way to do this. Unit cost is going down as I grow population points, because the free units you get is I think it's calculated based on the amount of cities and population you have. I think I can't remember the exact formula. That mines. He's still free. Wait. Oh, he's the last one to move. Yeah, that's that. So, options. Options are actually move the. Should have potentially moved that spear up. Yeah, and use that spear to defend the plains hill mine that I'd want to do, but I want. I don't know if I'm going to go for aesthetics and try and build Shredder Compare, in which case I want to save that tile for that. There's not much else for this worker to actually do. Yeah, there's not a lot for this worker to actually do anymore. It's kind of, I need workers elsewhere, don't I? I want to. I don't know. I could though. I do need part of the micromanagement based on do not die is also that this gets. Oh, I didn't take that into account, did I? That this forest gets chopped. Well, the hill gets mined rather. The turn after the, like 4 turns after the borders pop. Now, one of the ways I can do that is by moving a worker there and then just timing it so that the single worker chop finishes the turn after borders expand, and then it mines. I can do it that way. That's perfectly fine. Or I move a worker down, I road it, and then I just move back a whole bunch of workers to improve that tile on the given turn. Either works, really. I did intend to work the grass forest for a bit whilst growing, but it doesn't affect growth that much. Working and the extra hammers from the hill are fine. So what am I thinking of doing now? I could just irrigate the plains tile for a turn, then move the worker down to road. Then road that tile and then move them down a bit again. But I've already got 4 workers in this area. They will improve the cow, they will improve the gold, and then they'll have nothing else to do other than to mine the plains hills and stuff. I can't mine that. I can pre-mine the fort, but I can't finish it until I've got this last workboat through. Other than that, chop some forests, but there's nothing to build in Seabarren again. I don't need the barracks, don't care for the barracks. Put down roads for some godforsaken reason for the future. Otherwise, it's... I might just burn the worker turns now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Road for turn. Road for turn. Fuck it. Road for turn. Road for turn. Move it to mine. Then move them down. Yeah, I might do that. I might move this worker down and just put in single worker turns into roads. Or, because that's not entirely necessary, I might just waste 2 worker turns and then move to get it into position to help with the roads and some mines around here. I don't know. Probably going to just burn the worker turns because I don't need them. I don't really want this. Yeah, I don't really want to. I mean, I kind of need to keep a worker around this area, or I need to have workers back in this area if I do need to chop these forests and mine that hill. But that could be a while. That could take a while, and I could always build another worker. I was considering building a worker here, but as said, I don't need workers in this area. So if I build it here, I'm wasting worker turns anyway. There's just nothing else to build. Literally nothing else to build here now. Settler, could build another settler, but if I only need 2 cities now, and I'm building a settler and got the reset, and I'm going to slave one out in Seabarren again, don't need that 3rd settler, do I? Unless I want to settle this area here. But if you look at facts, you see that there's a library and a monument in there, so that those borders are going to expand again and take up a good chunk of the grasslands that a city here could use. So I've waited too long to settle around here. So yeah, there is literally not much I can build. Could build a palace for no reason. So yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, in almost all my games, I end up getting an early religion, and if I had all of this spare production right now, I would quite happily use it to spread that religion, to build missionaries. I would think, yeah, that's really good. That works out. I can build these. I've got production. I can build it. Really, I've got nothing. But without that, I've got nothing. Maybe delay that. Oh, can't even friggin' do that, can I? Unless I want food to fish it. Wait. This city size 7. Why do I only see 6 labourers? That might be a bug. Yeah, that was a bit weird. Now there's 7 labourers here, so I don't know what the fuck just happened there. I'm going to go over this video later and have a look at the 3920. So go to 3820. Yeah, that's alright. Options. Options. I said I wanted to grow this city because I want to work the hills potentially if I build a wonder here, but specialists might be better right now. Or maybe I'll just not work the hill tile because I don't want to finish the spear. It needs 30. I got 9 in there, so that's 26. So yeah, I might just do this. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I value the beakers quite a lot right now. I don't value hammers, so yeah, fine with that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. If I went to war with Novice and managed to take Miller, I'd want to turn Aram Collision into a cottage city. I've said that before. If I went to war with Novice and managed to take MacArthur and Lambert and Miller, then he'd basically be gone. He'd be out of the game. And I would still definitely turn Aram Collision into a commerce city. But interestingly enough, it would also be a perfectly good city to build a national epic in if I could get a hold of those bananas. Um, it would be pretty much it would have very similar food output availability to Here Tomorrow Big, and this would be also another good position to try and make an artist, to work artist specialists to get the culture. But I'd have to get a hold of that banana first. If I look at Miller, I see a forge, I see a library, I see a granary and a monument, and a barracks. So that's not... So he's still producing more culture than I am. So whilst I only have 53, he's in this city, he's getting close to 100, because he had those down before me. So he'll pop borders again, and he'll get a significant amount of culture into that tile before I can get there. I can get this city to 100, so... I wonder would be one choice to counteract that. The other choice would be National Epic, and running artists, and then, well, I could run artists anyway, I wouldn't need a National Epic, but it would synergise better, because I would appreciate the use of an artist just so I could threaten to bomb somebody. Cathedral would be useful. Sistine Chapel, yeah. Don't know. Don't quite know, but I think I'm going to run that single scientist specialist. I'm going to save food as well. I do want to grow this city. The last few pop sizes, I mean, even if I just grow it to size... If I grow it to size 10... I could grow it to 11, but to size 10... Working the grass hill... Actually, no, it would have to be size 11, wouldn't it? Oh no, working that... Yeah, it would have... I do kind of need the sheep to stay at size 10, but size 11, grass hill, plains hill, and another farm potentially. And one scientist for a few extra beakers. I don't know. I'm going to leave it like that. The worker, well, worker 9 can sit around here after a while. I can use that to road. Worker 7, I'm going to move this down. The 4 workers here can easily get all that done, and then road down to this city site here. This one I can approach from here, but I need to road to link them up. I need to road to Here Tomorrow Big. So I'm going to... Those roads are much more important than superfluous roads over here. So I am going to just, I think, waste it. Waste the worker turns now. 1, 2, third turn I can move onto the hill and mine cancel and then move elsewhere. So I'm going to end up wasting 2 worker turns to do this. Actually, I might do that first. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do actually. No, move into Reijadonga. Next turn, I'm going to cottage that plains tile. That might finish it actually. I'm not sure. It needs 1 or 2 turns. I'll actually finish that cottage. Road for turn the village here, and then I can move into the city and then mine for turn and cancel and do whatever. That's fine. That's what I'm going to do. So I think that's this. That's everything for this turn. So okay, what am I looking at now? Still building that settler. Still building that spear. Building mids. I know it's not 20 turns away with the forest chops with using extra hammer tiles. It's about 12 turns away. Building that spear, working that scientist. I'll take the sheep back in 2 turns. Actually, I'll stop working the scientist. I'll take the sheep back in 2 turns. Make it all be. I'll need 14 to grow. I'll be making. Oh fuck it. We're making 6 while we're in 3. It's a pity, but whatever goes. Who cares? Say Baron again grows in 2 turns. Works moves off the sheep onto the cottage. Works the plains hill mine. Ends up slaving the workboat 102. I think. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I've not talked about the Scar Award this turn. I've got the horse improved. I'm hoping that Thoth doesn't declare war. I'm not going to offer him Wales. I'm going to irrigate that. I'm probably going to... If Thoth doesn't declare war, and he might do, I'm going to irrigate that next turn. Thoth might think that he's under an obligation to attack, but really? Is he? I'm going to move this chariot down now. I should have moved this a while ago, I think, but whatever. I'll move this chariot now to cover this area as well. Yeah, I'll try and irrigate that next turn. Carry on irrigating it. That road will be complete. Then I'll mine it. I don't care. Move them down, irrigate that as well, and just focus on growing. If I'm only getting 2 settlers out for 2 cities rather than 4, I don't need to whip a settler. Might whip a market. 1 or 2 pop whip it. We'll wait and see. Depends on how much population I've got working on improved tiles. If I got both of those irrigated, I'm making 6, 7, 8. Down to 5. If I stole that, down to 4. 0 at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12. I have to be size 12, not enough food. Oh, with a market I would, wouldn't I think. Yeah, with a market I would, because I'd get extra happiness from the whales and from the ivory. So with a market I could actually do that. 8. 10. 18. 24. There you go, that 25. Yeah, that's not actually a bad production city. If I can do that. Yeah, about in there, that's nothing special. I work the whales to grow to size 2. At size 3, I think I can't remember if I was to work the grass forest or the hill. I think the hill's the better choice, especially with the commerce. and then that hill size 4, this, and then the forest at size 5. Around about that time, it takes a few turns to grow a bit more, and then I'll work the fish immediately, and then it'll just grow basically every 2 turns. Working the forest, working lake tiles. Once it hits size, like, yeah, it'll work all the food, the grass hills, the third one as soon as it's mined, the forest, and then coast tiles until it's size 10. Then it works every single plains hill tile, as well as all that, and it makes 27 hammers per turn, and it just blitzes out the mausoleum then at the end. Is that a useful thing to do? It's like, well, it produces about 180 hammers. Do not die does, whilst growing to size 10. It's a significant amount. It is a significant amount. I could have built aqueducts. I could, but I don't need the aqueduct. The library, there is no way in hell this city makes a reasonable amount of because it will not have the spare food to work scientists. It would be better off building wealth, so I can run the slider higher. So the library's not really worth it. A market potentially would be worth it. A market would potentially be worth it for the extra happiness, but not really that important. And I can't build it for a few turns, so still got to dump a few hammers into other stuff. Yes, I could dump a few hammers into a spear or stuff, but I've got so many. I mean, right now I've got 5 spears, and I'm 1 turn, 6th spear here, 7th spear, 8 spear, 9 spears. I don't need more units. Just don't need that many more units. So actually, I'm still happy with the mausoleum build. Yeah. I'll do the spearman now. I will finish the spearman. I'm fairly happy to build that spearman because I've got the chance to get it to 5 experience points by killing the warrior. So yeah, I'm happy with that. It's going to grow. Was it going to grow? What was it? Makes 5. It won't grow next turn. It'll grow end of turn 98 because I'm going to work the gold next turn. Move off. 1 moment. Actually, no. I want to keep it hidden. Actually, no. He's already. I think he must have already scattered those tiles. It doesn't matter. Oh no, I'll do that. Whatever. I won't bother messing them about now. I'll work the gold next turn. As I said. Try and get the cow hooked up for turn 99 to work that. So I'll move. Right. So basically, the new pop will go straight onto the cow sort of thing. So and then just grow again to work some of the. Whilst working the lakes tiles. If I mine both of the hills, I mean this city does end up working 3 mines, the sheep, the oasis, the cow, and that's it. That's basically size 6. This city can just sit there. There's not much point doing anything else with it. I can irrigate a few tiles as well. I can irrigate 2 grassland and then work a single or 3 grasslands, I think, and maybe windmill a hill and then work some workshops later. But right now, with the tech I have, that's not important. That's just me being aware of what I can do. I will build a library next turn. I will take the culture. I'm doing it simply for the culture, not for any other reason. If I had the ability to chop into a market, I actually would do that. But it doesn't matter. The chop's got to go into something. Even if I chopped it into a spear, another spear, it's like, well, that spear's still just going to sit there. Whilst I build, and then I'll have to build into a library for a few turns. So yeah, that's pretty much everything done. But I'm up to 48 gold per turn now, so that's a significant amount. 144. When I hook up that gold tile, that's an additional 7. But I'm moving off a coast tile, so that's only an additional 5. So that's 146. Any other growth coming? No, so that's 146 next turn. Well, 1 hamlet's going to a village. Here tomorrow big. Yeah. But I'm getting close now to 150 base beakers per turn. I need to decide. I mean, actually, now I need to calculate this because I was going to consider starting currency, and just Thoth's moves have thrown me a bit. if I were to make 150 base speakers per turn times 1.2, it's 180. Adjusted beakers per turn. If I run 100% for 3 turns, running 100%, making 150 beakers per turn, I make 580 adjusted, 580 beakers into currency. So on that last turn, to finish it, I would need to make 60. Basically, I'd need to make 60 beakers, which is 40%, which is break even. So actually, yeah, that's not considering growing. So over these next 4 turns, if I grow the pot from Sea Baron again onto a cottage, Do Not Die grows onto a hill tile, and Alkari will grow onto. Actually, it's going to grow into a cow, so it does nothing. Here tomorrow, Big's going to grow 1 pop and have nothing to work, so it will end up working a lakes tile. So that's an additional 2 commerce. Yeah, there's nothing there. I said that one's going to grow a bit, but I've already calculated that. Nothing oh, that'll grow onto a mine. It's fine. So, actually, what I can do this turn is I can run break even into currency for a single turn, and then I can run 100% for 3 turns to finish currency. So for a total of a 4-turn tech. What that does for me, that gives me a little bit of freedom, because if I have to research horseback riding, I will still have, what is it? In fact, I'm going to play it safe. I'm actually going to run 50%, slightly below break even, just so that I know I've definitely got enough beakers into currency to do it in 4 turns. I'm still able to 2-turn horseback riding from turn 98 onwards. It's when I'm 1 turn away from finishing currency, I won't quite have enough gold to do that, but it's not too bad. But that's a small risk of doing it this way. So I can still go for currency. I'll get it in 4. I'll be able to leave the spear in the queue whilst I build a market here. I could move off the library. I could just build into that library and then move on to market or wealth in, and I'll carry that. Doesn't matter. Here tomorrow, Big will be a bit screwed, but I want to build a library here anyway because this is my current choice for National Epic City. Even though I would build it in ARAM Collusion, I'm gonna build it here simply because I've got to fight to get all of the food in ARAM Collusion, and this city I think is a bit safer. And I don't think I'll piss off Commodore if I push so much culture here either. Actually. Now Hermitage is a long way away at nationalism. Which is an expensive tech, 3,363 compared to the 600 for currency. So yeah, actually I think that's this turn done. It's been a long turn to talk about because over the past few turns quite a few things have changed. Novice got the Great Wall and screwed and messed me about there. Thoth looking at planting some cities. So yeah, having to deal with other people's not something I often do because I normally just settle every city I want and manage not having much of a tech rate, and that I'm at a tech deficit to everyone else. I'm more used to managing a tech deficit than I am to managing other people's unit movements and city locations. So this is a bit of a novelty for me. Anyway, I'll turn those off now. So yeah, last thing for the turn is do I give Wales to Thoth? That's the question. He's just got open borders. He is going to be teching a bit better. His cities have stagnated. I don't want to give. His cities will have stagnated, so he'll be in a position now to literally get 1 extra pop point in every single city. And he'll just yeah, fine. He'll just take that. If we look at pop, you see, it's like if I give him Wales, he's probably going to get very close to me. Percentage of world population, 17.5% as well is not bad for a 7-player game for me. Oh, I always aim for like 20% of world pop. Like 7 or 8 player games, because it shows you've got a good pop edge, and that you can use that to get a lead. So one last thing to look at. Second in GNP, running slightly below break even into a tech I only have a 1.2 modifier, and that's pretty good. MFG down by 22, and again that's novice, building mids almost certainly, and it's going up. Still number 1 in power, second in land area, trying to plant a few more cities. Population doesn't mean anything. Soldier points, I want to go back to this actually. Soldier points don't matter that much. If you've got you could have a really high soldier point to be number 1 because you've got a load of ancient era junk, and if somebody's defending with pikes, catapults, and knights, they don't need power. Doesn't matter. They will destroy you if you try and attack them. So soldier points isn't really soldier points is just a number for people to use when they read the demographics to figure out if you've built any new units, to see if you've researched new tech. If you just want to look at it in isolation, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean, ooh, this person's really strong and he can attack anybody and win. Like, I'm number 1, I can't do it. I couldn't attack anybody and win. I could attack someone, lose, and then lose cities on the other side of my empire. So it's like, number 1 doesn't mean anything. At most it means that I can defend. I'll have units to defend with. Doesn't mean I'll actually defend successfully. You have to look at a map, and you have to consider other factors such as what techs people have, the cultural borders, defensive bonuses, the terrain, what units people can attack with and can build, the positions of units, so how quickly they can get into position to defend, and that number doesn't describe those. So everything else is okay. I mean, number 1. I don't know why that one's at minus 14. I never understood this. I don't think it matters that much. I don't gain much information out of that. I think yeah, nothing. I'm quite pleased with my position right now. I'm not, to be totally honest. First thoughts, I'm still not particularly pleased with what Thoth's doing here. Yeah, I'm really not particularly pleased with what Thoth's doing. But on the other hand, I'm just ambivalent. It really is ambivalent. I don't like what Thoth's doing, but I'm ambivalent because I just don't want to plant this city. And if he's given me a reason not to plant it, and I really don't, and I'm actually okay with that. I'm more annoyed because I wanted to plant down here for a different border against Novice, but I cannot do that if Thoth plants this city because I'll have such a wide front to defend. So I'm gonna go. So I'm just gonna go with the 1s. Yeah, I'll go with the 1s, and that'll be okay. I think that'll be enough. So that'll put me to 10 cities. If I could see food down here, I'd actually consider planting to the south. But fuck it. I mean, that rice doesn't matter. So yeah, get those last 2 cities, and that's it for expansion for me. Peacefully anyway. The rest's going to be at the end of a pointy stick. So yeah, there's a chance that we play again today. There's Pindicator and Scooter to play at some point today. Not Scooter, Sadoa. Sadoa, actually, I said Sadoa was going on a trip and we'd be paused over this weekend. However, that trip's been cancelled. Sadoa was kind enough to tell us that. However, yeah, he's got other things that he needs to be focusing on that are much more important than this game at the moment. So if he gets around to the game in the next 12 hours, that'd be great. He might not do, and I don't blame him for that. If he needs a pause, it's also perfectly understandable considering his real life constraints. But we might get another turn in today, and that's going to end turn. That's it. I hope this stream's been useful. I'm sorry the past few have been quite long, but there's been a lot that I've had to go over. So I hope people have a good weekend.